Last week, Sacramento State rode the arm and legs of quarterback Jeff Fleming as the Hornets beat the Montana Grizzlies for the first time ever. At the same time, Denarius McGee was leading Montana State to the first ever visiting team win on Eastern Washington's red turf. The two teams meet next on Bobcat Game Day. This is Bobcat Game Day. This afternoon, it's a key Big Sky Conference matchup as Sacramento State takes on the Bobcats of Montana State. Hi again, everyone. I'm Chris Byers alongside Mike Callahan. And Mike, if today's game is anything like last year's matchup, buckle in. Remember that one? Overtime, 64-61, 1,200 yards of total offense. Don't think that's going to happen today. However, Sacramento State does have a quarterback capable of putting up a lot of points.
They certainly do. Every quarterback in the Big Sky is really capable of putting up points this season, but Jeff Fleming for Sac State is a proven guy, having come in hot. In 4 games, he has already been awarded the Big Sky Conference's Offensive Player of the Week twice. First for his performance at Oregon State, and then last week in their victory against Montana, where he not only threw for a couple of touchdowns, but he ran for a pair as well.
Speaking of Player of the Week honors, we don't often talk about special team guys, but they can go a long, long way in playing a difference in a football game. That was certainly the case last week at Eastern Washington with Jason Cunningham. Tell us why he earns FCS Player of the Week honors as well as Big Sky.
Well, he has already had a great career at Montana State, but last week at Eastern Washington, he stepped it up another notch, going 5 for 5 on field goals with a pair of 55-yarders, making him the only Bobcat in history to hit 2 over 50 in the same game.
Amazing game last week for Jason Cunningham, and also Caleb Schreibeis, the Defensive Player of the Week in the Big Sky Conference out of Billings, Montana, the junior. Montana State, in 4 separate categories, leads the Big Sky in defense. They're off to a great start, and they have been stout. Should be a great one here at Bobcat Stadium this afternoon. Now for the keys to the game, let's go down on the field and join A.J. Donatoni. Hi, A.J.
Hello, Chris and Mike. Welcome down to this field here at Bobcat Stadium. It is a hot one. Might get up to 90 degrees today, and these two teams are equally hot. Sacramento State and Montana State coming into today's game. And for the Billings Hotel and Convention Center, keys to today's matchup. We'll start with the visiting Hornets, and right away, they have to find some consistency. They started the season off with a great win on the road against Oregon State, but since they suffered against Southern Utah and against Weber State before coming back with a big win over the Grizz, so they have to be able to carry that good vibe over to today's game. Number 2, they got to rely on those veterans. You guys mentioned Jeff Fleming. They also have a running back. It seems like he's been around forever. That's Brian Hilliard. Those 2 guys have to put the team on the back. They're the veterans of the team. They have to be able to help that consistency. And then number 3, Zach Nash, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. He was a Sports Network second-team preseason All-American. He can make a lot of problems for offensive lines. Montana State has to know where he is at all times. And speaking of the Cats, here are their keys to today's game. And number 1, they got to be able to disrupt that balance that Sacramento State has. Coach Ash said this week that the main concern against the Hornets offense is that they're so balanced. They do the pass and run very efficiently, and they balance it out very well. He has to find a way for that defense to be able to stop that. Number 2, there's a bit of a linebacker shuffle going on after the season-ending injury to Roger Trammell. That means Na'a Moiakiola is now the starting linebacker for the Cats. Alexei Groselak will be backing him up. You might see more of Groselak, who's coming back from that injury. So the Cats have to figure out that linebacker situation. And then finally, you got to be aggressive, be aggressive. I'm no cheerleader, but the Cats have to recognize that Sacramento State's defensive statistics this year, both on the ground and through the air, they've been a little bad. And Montana State might be able to exploit something there if they come out and attack early and see if they can puncture some holes in that Hornets defense. Those are your Billings Hotel and Convention Center keys to today's game. Football is right around the corner. Can you feel it? I'm pumped. Sacramento State, Montana State coming up right after this.
90 degrees, October 1st. The coaching matchups, Rob Ash now in his 32nd season with over 200 wins, and Marshall Spurback in his 5th year with Sacramento State. And he has done a terrific job with the Hornets. And coming into this game, we'll talk more about that. The officials for this afternoon's game, Greg Wilson is the referee, Brian Hay the umpire, and Bob Day is the head linesman. Sacramento State will receive the football to start the game. John Hendershot is back deep. And Jason Cunningham, coming off that 5 field goal performance last week against Eastern Washington, set to kick it away. Packed house in Bozeman, and we're underway. Cunningham's kick sails deep and out of the end zone, so Sacramento State will have it from the 20-yard line to start the game in their first possession. Let's take a look at that Sacramento State offense. And it's been good this season. They put up some points as Dover Spike, DePaul, Pfaff, Wordley, and Stickney are the big guys up front. Backs and receivers, Norris, Reed, DeAtter, and Hazlett, the tight end. And Hilliard, the veteran, gets the start at running back. And, of course, Jeff Fleming opens at quarterback, the senior from Fullerton, California. Talked about him in the pregame. He has had a terrific season so far.
He's had 2 great games for him, and then 2 games that weren't quite on par with those other ones. So kind of a crapshoot. We'll see what we get today, Chris.
And they start the game, trying the right side, and not a whole lot there. Gain of 2 on the play. Zach Minter in on the stop. Ledette, Kalei, and Minter are the down linemen. Schreibeis, Moyakiola, Bignell, and Owens are the linebackers. And in the backfield, it's Sean Gords, Darius Jones at the corners, Bethley, and Fuller is the strong safety.
Well, a good stop there for Montana State on first down. They are coming with, they've got that 3 backer package, which we haven't seen as much of, but I think so. They're looking for the run early here. They're going to get the bubble. It's not going to be quite. I think that was Hendershot. Just couldn't quite hold on to that one in the flat.
Incomplete pass will bring up 3rd down. And I think, Mike, the area where maybe Montana State has improved the most from last year has been overall defensively. Much better this year.
You mentioned it in the open, Chris. This is a routine. Their theme has been the return to dominance. The Montana State defense the last 10 years has been #1 in the conference in total defense 6 years. Last year dropped to 5th, which is, previously unheard of. So, as you said, they are starting to excel this year on the defensive side of the football.
DeAtter and Croxdale check in now at receiver for Sacramento State. Flags come flying in.
Well, we're down close to that Sonny Holland end zone. I think we got a little noise working already.
Start, number 77, offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That was the plan, right? When they did the stadium expansion and bowled in that end zone, they put the students right there in the back of the end zone for that specific reason. It's going to be awfully tough to call plays down there.
Yeah, it really is, and you can see that homecoming crowd is fired up, and they were out making some noise before the Bobcats even came out for warm-ups today.
Croxdale in the backfield for Fleming on 3rd down and 15. Just underway first quarter. Here's Fleming in a straight drop, fires out over the middle, and this one is incomplete. Over the head of the intended receiver as they tried to get it to DeAtter. That'll bring up 4th down. And the Hornets 3 and out will have to punt away.
Well, Gords, as you see there, was on coverage that time. They were manned up and with no help over the middle, and that ball just well overthrown. Looked like he was breaking open, but it was really after the play. Good coverage that time, and a good beginning for that Montana State defense to hold that really potent Sac State offense to a 3 and out to begin this contest.
Augie Heath will kick it away right at the goal line. Elvis Akpla back to receive. Short kick. Akpla fields it at the 45. Straight ahead of the 40. Akpla with running room to the 25. Cuts it to the outside of the 15 and finally ridden out of bounds, but not until Akpla gets all the way down close to the 10-yard line.
Boy, Elvis Akpla making himself known in the special teams today. This ball, as you said, kicked a little bit short, and he just pounds it up the field here. He's got one man to beat, goes behind the block outside, but Hendershot does a good job of just getting enough of that feet, force him out of bounds, but still a great start for the Montana State Bobcats.
And it looks like this may be coming back, a flag at the 40-yard line. Let's take a look at the offense for Montana State. Sampson the center, Terrian and Dennehy are the guards, and Conrad Burbank, Leo Davis the tackles.
Well,
Foster starts at tight end, Gilbert Bleskin and Akpla the wide receivers. Cody Kirk will open at running back. And of course under center the sophomore, Denarius McGee. So the penalty will back it up to the 49 of Montana State. And that's where the Bobcats will go to work on offense for the first time this afternoon. The give is to Kirk up over the right side, met right at the 50-yard line, falls forward to the 49. Gain of 2 on the play. In on the stop for Sacramento State is John Bloomfield. And here's the defense for Sacramento State. 4 down linemen and the 3 linebackers for the Hornets. Badger, Wilkins, and Davis. And in the backfield, McMahon, Monson, Larche, and Odiasi at the corner. So a gain of 2 makes it 2nd and 8. Hornets show blitz, come from the corner. McGee fires across the middle, incomplete at the 45. And that'll bring up 3rd down. That one's intended for Shane Robinson, the tight end.
Had to get one of that early. The Hornets brought, that time they brought their DB off the corner of Vander Wilkins, and he was up in McGee's face, forcing him to throw that one a little bit before he had planned on. They have talked about all week that this Hornet defense has got one of the most aggressive and complicated blitz packages in all of the Big Sky. So we saw it there, the first passing situation. They brought heat.
Well, they will come from every direction, as you mentioned, and they blitz a lot. So 3rd down, McGee out of the gun. Here they come, straight up the middle. McGee pulls it down, and he'll be taken down for a loss on the play, as they simply broke down at Montana State's offensive line. And coming straight up the middle for the tackle is Zach Nash.
He's their All-American. Watch him loop around to the left side of your screen, gets underneath the block of Burbank, and there he is, the sack of the day. This is a guy, everybody's All-American. Last year, 13 sacks on the season, but just his 3rd sack so far in 2011.
So the Bobcats will be forced upon as Rory Perez angles one to the left side. This one hits inside the 20, and it'll be down there. So Montana State, Sacramento State will have it when we come back from the 19-yard line. Let's go to the ball for the 2nd time here in the 1st quarter as they open with Hilliard in the backfield. He gets the call, met by Zach Minner and taken down for a loss of 3 on the play.
Big number 96 already twice today. He is picking up where he left off at Eastern Washington. He spent the 2nd half at Eastern in the backfield, and you can see already upfield twice today to make tackles for loss.
So the loss is back to the 13. Loss of 6 on the play, so 2nd and 16. Kind of a feeling out process between these 2 teams right now, as John Hendershot checks in for the Hornets. They open with a 3-receiver set to the left. Fleming goes that way to Hendershot, who makes the catch, falls forward to the 20, gets most of the lost yardage back.
Nice play on defense that time. You can see the linebacker, number 2, Moiaka Ola, is walked out in the flat here, and just a little bubble screen does a nice job of getting underneath it and allowing the corner, Gorge, to come up and make the tackle. I know back in my limited linebackers day, Chris, when I was manned up that far from the ball, I was scared to death.
You're being honest.
Yeah, I am. The wheels was not one of my gifts.
All right, so 3rd and 8 now is Fleming, and flags again. And looks like, false start on that offensive line. That'll back him up 5 more yards.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 77 offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
So what you're saying, Mike, is when you were up as a player, as a linebacker, you were all about run contain, right? You weren't in the cover in those wide receivers.
I felt a lot better when there were a lot of people around me. Yeah, that gets a little lonely on the outside. I never knew how those corners quite could sleep at night, knowing that they were going to face that kind of situation time after time every Saturday.
3rd down call now for Sacramento State. Here's Fleming. Tries to set up the screen pass to McGowan, who makes the catch at the 15, but then wrapped up and taken down. So nothing doing there, as McGowan, that play is just blown up behind the line of scrimmage.
Very disciplined job on the MSU defense. They've got the long situation, so they keep, you see Owens drive up, and then look at Brian Bignell, number 99, come from the inside. Hey, he's starting to get a lot more time, and you can see why. That was a great play by Mr. Bignell.
So that brings up another punting situation for Sacramento State as he stands inside the 5-yard line. It's a high booming kick. And that's going to be fielded by Johnson. And Montana State again with excellent field position. Well, as they'll start the drive from the 38-yard line.
So far, Chris, it's been all about these two defenses. You can see that's the third possession, 2 for Sac State and 1 for MSU. 3 3-and-outs. And now Montana State will get their second chance of trying to get something going offensively.
See the first quarter score over in Missoula, where Montana leads Northern Colorado 10-7. Grizz trying to bounce back. Will line up under center now. Will change the play. Kirk in the backfield. Stephen Foster now at tight end leads for Kirk, who gets up over the 40. Good hard running by Cody Kirk, who takes it to the 42-yard line before he's tripped up by Evander Wilkins.
Well, not much of a crease inside that time for Cody, but as we so often do with him, he's going to finish on his belly, and he's going to hit it up in there hard. Really a nice effort to pick up the 4 yards.
So 2nd and 6 from the 43. Here's McGee, fires out of the flat for Ellis, who makes the catch, but then Ellis is wrapped up right after the catch, and there'll be no gain on the play. Great job in contain out there as Todd Davis makes the tackle.
Todd Davis, number 91, the backer, moved from defensive end. Watch him make this play in space out here. You can see this is a difficult situation, open field with Ellis. Nice job wrapping up. You can see why number 91 is their leading tackler coming into today's ball game.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and you try to track down Ellis in space. That was just a good job of one-on-one form tackling. So no gain, call it 3rd and 6, empty backfield for McGee in a 5-receiver set. 3 split to the right. Here comes the blitz up the middle. McGee fires across the middle, and that's complete at the 44-yard line and a first down. Elvis Akpla with the catch.
Well, again, watch the job that this Montana Sac State brings both linebackers. You can see him come right up the middle. Sampson picks up one. Dennehy picks up the other one. McGee recognizes that the blitz is coming, gets rid of the ball early. Nice throw and catch to Akpla.
And that was Ryan McMahon on the tackle. He's the transfer from USC, and he's been their leading tackler this year. John Ellis checks in for...
As described by the Sac State crew as always being around the football.
So a first down gain to the 43. And Kirk gets to the corner up over the 35 and inside the 35. McMahon rides him out of bounds, but another first down for Montana State.
Couple of nice blocks on the outside. As you watch this come around, you got Stephen Foster, number 89 out there, that really opens up the edge for Cody. Ellis out there as well, but a good job blocking upfield that time by Montana State.
Ball's on the 32 and a first down. Trey Robinson goes barreling over the left side. He picks up 7 on the play, 2nd and 3. Robinson's first carry of the afternoon.
Watch as you'll see this from the running back view. Just a little stretch to the left. Again, Terry and Robinson, Pleskin, all a hat on a hat, as Coach Ash likes to describe it. What it really means is you've got a blocker occupying that defensive player and allowing your running backs to make the cut and find the open field.
Lee Perkins, the tight end, is lined up in the backfield. Foster's also in, so they got the big package in there right now. They got all 3 tight ends in the game.
Looked like some confusion on the part of the Sac State defense, so they're going to call timeout.
7:49 to go, opening quarter in Bozeman. No score. Back after these words from you. drive, 10 plays, 53 yards, 4:34 off the clock, and capped off on the 26-yard field goal by Jason Cunningham. 5 field goals last week, starts things off today with yet another. So Cunningham just continues to kick his way into the record books, huh?
Yeah, it just keeps climbing that chart. He's moving up the big sky chart for all-time points getters. I think the next guy on that list in front of us is one of the Zendejas brothers that played for Reno. But you can see Montana State that time was the first offense of these two very powerful groups to sort of settle in and put a drive together. We'll see if Sac State can respond here. The Hornets' first 2 drives have been short 3 and out, so they got to really feel like they want to try and get something going while we're still in this first quarter.
Hendershot back to receive the kick of Cunningham. And this one coming down in the end zone, and Hendershot will take a knee. And they'll operate from the 20-yard line. AJ?
All right, guys, MSU's defense about to come back on the field. We've already seen Zach Minter and the other guys on the D-line already make some stops today. The defensive line really has a big impact on this team, and last week I was able to sit on some of that film viewing from the Eastern Washington game. They rushed Bo Levi Mitchell on one play, and Caleb Schreibeis was credited for a sack that Zach Minter thought he deserved when Mitchell was called for intentional grounding. They got into it. It was a little fun thing, but this defensive line really has a lot of pride in what they accomplish on the field.
All right, thanks, AJ. Hilliard back in at tailback, and Fleming pulls it down, now looks right, fires out there, and overthrows the intended receiver. That was Morris Norris, and it'll bring up second down. Well, Mike, when we talk about the Sacramento State team, they've already done 2 things this year that they've never done before. They beat an FBS Division I team in Oregon State. That was in the opening week. And then last week, they beat the Montana Grizzlies for the first time in school history. They're coming off a 6-win season, so Marshall Spurbeck has done an outstanding job building this program, what I think is one of the real up-and-coming programs in the Big Sky Conference.
Oh, most definitely, and we knew that when we left Sacramento last year, that this program was for real, and they were going to be moving ahead and be a real force this year when they got into conference play, and I think that we will see that. We've seen it so far, and it will play out again.
Boy, great job by the Montana State defense that time. As
you can see Kaligi right inside. A nice little swim move, stops. Thought the ball had been given off to McNown, but able to get upfield, not fooled. And again, we're looking at a long 3rd down situation for Sacramento State.
Boy, this Montana State defense has been tough so far. So 3rd and 11. From the 19-yard line. Here's Fleming out of the gun, straight drop, looks long and deep, and this is incomplete, and a flag's going to come in. And I think you're going to get pass interference on Montana State. A lot of tangled up bodies down there at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, it looked like they're going to call it on number 5,
Fuller.
The safety, Joel Fuller, 6 foot, 200 pounds, out of Libby, Montana.
Defense, number 28. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, it's going to be on Stephen Beffley.
Coach Ashley, I think, is trying to shake that one off because this ball was really thrown pretty deep. Not sure if the receiver would have had a chance to catch this under any circumstances, but you can see the contact there. The referee made the call, and really, Sac State gets their first break of this ball game.
By that replay, it looked like it was on Fuller as he got kind of tangled up with the receiver. So good break for Sacramento State as they'll keep the football in by far their best field position of the day to the 34 and a first down. Croxdale is the running back now on first down. Here's Fleming. Quick drop, pulls it down, quarterback draw all the way. Fleming's got running room up over the 40. Fleming to the 45, the 46-yard line, and a first down. Nice play by Jeff Fleming. That was a design run all the way.
It was, and Fleming has rushed the ball effectively for them all year. Here you can see it pull down, and really just a little bit of a one-on-one with linebacker Jody Owens, who's not able to make the play, but the safety Fuller coming over the top makes a tackle, but not intelligent. Nice game, and now we can see, are they going to be able to put together a few plays for the Hornets and get that offensive rhythm going?
Justin Chastain checks in at wide receiver for Sac State on first down. Here's Fleming, throws out there the screen that's caught by Reed. And Brandon Reed takes it up over midfield, and a good gain on the play, taken down by Moeakiola. There's Reed.
That we saw Moeakiola, as we see Reed go off, dragging his shoulder a little bit out in space again. We talked about it. We saw it earlier on this side of the field, but that time out on that little bubble, it just does a nice job of driving up underneath it and letting the corner come up and make the play for him.
Broadnax and DeAtter check in on 2nd and 4. 3 receivers split to the left on 2nd down. And here come the Bobcats on the blitz. They throw it and caught. Going to be short of the first down. Caught at the 45-yard line. Good job out there in coverage by Bethley.
That time the Montana State defense was in a 5 defensive back scheme. They had walked up linebacker Clay Bignell on the line of scrimmage and tried to bring some heat. A good job by Fleming getting rid of the ball on time, but just, as you said, about a yard short of first down.
3rd and 1 from the 45. Crowd on their feet here at Bobcat Stadium. And Fleming pulls it back. It's going to go long and deep out there, and that is incomplete at the 15-yard line. A great job by Chase DeAtter, who laid himself out and almost came up with a big catch.
Well, he is their big target, 6'5", 215-pound senior. That time, a nice play fake, sort of seizes everybody on that defensive unit from Montana State. He's got him. It looks to be open, but you'll see this one just a little bit outside of his reach. Not able to bring that one in.
Chastain, the tight end, checks in. So,
and Chris, we're going to see 4th and 1 here, which is a situation where consistently this year, Sacramento State has been very aggressive in going for it on 4th down.
Hilliard's the running back on 4th down. Flag comes in. Fleming keeps the football, rolls left on the bootleg. Now he's got a first down, but hang on. Flag came in right at the start and in the area where could be holding or perhaps a false start.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but as I said before this game, coming into today's contest, Sac State had gone for it on 4th down 11 times. By far the most in the league.
Defense, offsides, number 93. That's a 5-yard penalty, first down.
All right, so Montana State offsides. First down for Sacramento State up to the 40-yard line.
Well, a couple of defensive penalties on Montana State, keeping this drive alive for the Hornets. Now they're into Montana State territory at the 40-yard line, and we'll see if this defense is able to stiffen or if it's going to be an opportunity for Sac State to answer and get on the board.
First down from the 40. Hilliard gets the call, bounces off one tackle. It tripped up right at the 40-yard line. Not much. They'll give him a couple on the play as Fuller in on the stop for Montana State.
Good play by, you can see Fuller come up. This is a big back, 5'11", 215, averaging just near 100 yards a contest. That time Fuller comes up. Great run support from the secondary. Holds him to just a short 2-yard gain.
Hilliard, the senior from Sacramento.
AJ mentioned that
he's been there a long
like
time.
He's been forever, and it certainly does. Much longer than 4 years, I'll tell you that.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Here's Fleming on play action. Blitz comes up the middle, but he gets it away, and it's caught. And this is going to go for a big gain as DJ Maciel, the tight end, takes it all the way down to the 17-yard line of Montana State on a perfect screen play.
Well, there's a mistake somewhere in this defensive secondary. Everybody was frozen by the run fake, but the tight end was completely unaccounted for out in the flat, and he had a lot of space when he caught that football. There wasn't anybody within 10 yards in any direction.
DeAtter checks back in at wide receiver along with Brandon Reed. They're split wide right. And it's first down from the 18. Here's Fleming, now looks right, fires out there to Reed, who makes the catch at the 10-yard line. Boy, nothing fancy about that, Mike, as he He took what the corner gave him and squared up and made the catch.
Yeah, Gords gives him a pretty big cushion on this, considering the field position here where you're down in the red zone. But watch this throw. This is pretty high quality. This is not a short throw going clear out to the sideline. And as you said, taking advantage of the big cushion that was offered up on that time by the corner, Gords. Did a nice job of driving up and making the tackle, but you can see Sac State would be more than happy to pick up 8 at a shot down here in the red zone.
Norris and Broadnax check in, a gain of 8, 2nd and 2. Hilliard stays in at running back. He gets the call, comes up over the left side, tries to beat everyone to the corner, and now ridden out of bounds. But that's a first down. So Hilliard with a nice job of getting to the outside, Mike, and got enough for the first down.
Hilliard really shows some impressive speed here. This really looked like it was going to be a play. Good flow from the Bobcat defensive front and linebackers, but he just flat outran him to the corner.
Illegal shift, offense, number 1. That's a 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Okay, so the penalty will negate the run. It'll bring up 2nd down. They get Reed on an illegal shift out there at receiver. Hilliard's got a little deceptive speed. He's a big guy, and he doesn't look like he's a real blazer, but yet when you watch him stretching that field and get to the corner, he does a good job of getting there.
Yeah, that was a great example of it, because he just looked like he was going to get run down early, maybe even inside the tackle on that play. But the longer he kept going for the sideline, the more separation he was able to achieve.
So 2nd and 7 now from the 15. Fleming under center. They give us to Hilliard. Hilliard's got a seam at the 10-5. Touchdown, Sacramento State. Hilliard with a nice job of finding the hole, got through it and into the end zone for the first touchdown of the afternoon.
Well, you didn't have to have a whole lot of speed on this one, because this is a great hole opened up by the left side of that Hornet offensive line. He just waltzes into the end zone there on that one, untouched.
So Brian Hilliard on the 15-yard touchdown run puts up the first touchdown of the afternoon. Jason Deniz in for the extra point. Ball down, kick on the way, and good. So with 12 seconds to go in the opening quarter, Sacramento State has the lead on a fine drive by the Sacramento State offense as they started from their own 20, marched it down the field, capped off on the nice run by Hilliard, and they have the 7-3 lead. Now, one of the things about this team through 4 games is that you see the forward scoring drive is Sacramento State was very good at home and has struggled on the road, but coming into Bozeman here, hostile crowd, packed house, and they've done a nice job of quieting everyone down.
They did a nice job in that drive. It looked like it was stopped early on. It looked like another 3 and out, and they got the pass interference call against Montana State, and they were really able to capitalize. But if you're Montana State, on their side of it, you got to think, boy, we kept that drive alive twice with defensive penalties, and you just can't afford to do that against a solid offense like Sacramento State has.
Well, you're right, a couple of key penalties and the pass interference call that extended the drive. Sacramento State capitalizes. They've got the lead as Johnson and John Ellis are back to receive. Deniz will kick it away from the 30. This one coming down to Johnson inside the 5. Here's Johnson up over the 15. Hit at the 20 and down at the 20. So first down for Montana State from the 20-yard line. Let's take another look at the touchdown, Mike, and again, just a good job by that offensive line.
Yeah, you can see it here. You got some big boys out here. They turn down on the tackle, get a nice crack from the outside coming back in on that backer, and then it just really free cruising in the end zone for Hilliard.
Dover Spike and Clay DePaul with a good job of opening up that hole for Hilliard to run through.
Well, you can see Dover Spike, he's their vet, the 6'5", 285 guy at that left tackle. He's got more starts than anybody on the team, so a key situation. They were smart, they got behind their proven vet.
Bobcats with the football now once again as they throw it out there to Gilbert, and Gilbert makes the catch but loses 2 on the play back to the 18. Good job by Evander Wilkins in coverage, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. 15 minutes are in the books. Sacramento State on top of MSU 7-3. Back after these words from your local stations. You're watching Bobcat Game Day. Opening play of the second quarter as Montana State looking at a 2nd and 12 from the 18. They'll stay on the ground as Cody Kirk bounces to the outside up over the 20, stays on his feet. And Kirk gets all the way up close to the 25-yard line. Finally taken down by Bloomfield.
Well, that looked like it was going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Middle linebacker number 11, Badger, did a nice job for the Hornets, scraping to the outside. But I'll tell you what, Cody Kirk accepted that challenge and ended up 5 yards further down the field.
There's your first quarter numbers. Sacramento State with the edge in total offense right now. Montana State's been pretty quiet so far. McGee throws out to Gilbert, and Gilbert up over the 30 and a first down as they get Everett Gilbert into the game with the pass and catch.
Just get Gilbert out in the flat here, a little roll right, and just try to turn this thing up. He gets it turned up, but a good play from Wilkins, who we'd seen go off the field at the last play of the first quarter, so good to see him back in there.
So first down to the 38, they'll stay on the ground. Kirk, who slams it up over the 40, give him 3 on the play. You were talking to Cody after the game in Cheney last week, Mike, in Eastern Washington, and he was saying that he was having some tingling in his arm, a bit of a problem, and I know that was one thing they wanted to address this week. Yeah,
we had thought from the booth that it looked like it was some type of shoulder thing. He said, no, it wasn't something in the elbow, but as Cody always says, he said, no big deal, he's fine.
Nothing doing there. It's going to bring up 3rd and long. As Robinson with a short gain on the play. That Sacramento State defense, statistically not great, but I think playing awfully well this afternoon.
And statistically not very good against the rush. Coming in ranked 6th in the, or excuse me, against the rush in the Big Sky Conference, 7th, giving up over 214 yards a game.
Yeah.
But today we have seen them be very tough and did a nice job in the last 2 plays. And I think we're going to see this one go to the air. MSU's coming with that 5 wide, empty backfield look.
3rd and 6 for McGee. Here comes the blitz off the corner. McGee looks across the middle, and this one is batted down. Incomplete pass will bring in Rory Perez. And again, a good job by the Sacramento State defense. Boy, they sure give you a lot of looks on that front line, don't they?
Well, look at it. The backers stay in. They don't come this time. Denarius seems to lock in pretty tight on Aqua from the beginning of that one. And I think he may have been surprised that he didn't get the rush on 3rd and 7 from those backers up the middle.
Perez in to kick it away. Kyle Monson stands inside his 20. So the Hornets figure to get the football back. They have the lead here early 2nd quarter. Now Perez kind of runs to his left a little bit. Monson calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 16-yard line. 12:39 to go, 2nd quarter in a 7-3 game. Fleming up under center. Hilliard back in and running back. DeAdder goes in motion as he comes across. Fleming pulls it back. Fires out there to the left, and this is incomplete. That was intended for Hendershot.
That's incomplete, intended for Hendershot.
You know, Mike, we're talking about this Sacramento State team, the improvements that they've had from last year to this year, but well, you're defensively, you know, they've been giving up 35 points a game coming into this one, and so far, against a very explosive Montana State offense, they have done their job.
Yeah, they really have. And as you said, from a statistical standpoint, they have not been very solid coming into today, but so far a really, really good effort.
Sean Gourds checks in at corner for Montana State on 2nd down. This time they'll stay on the ground, and Hilliard's going to be wrapped up by Schreibeis right at the line of scrimmage. Breaks out of that tackle, falls forward to the 20, and a gain of 3.
Well, interesting little cat and mouse going. They came out the last play looked like a run set when they motioned the tight end underneath. This one they go with the 3 wide and come back with the running play. Montana State is in its nickel package, so a good job by Schreiber slowing him up at the line of scrimmage, because really with just the 2 linebackers in the game, he would have had significant running room.
So on 3rd and 7.
Timeout, Sacramento State. That's their second.
Sacramento State will use their second timeout of the half. 11:59 to go, second quarter. Back after these words. 3rd and 7 for Sacramento State from the 20-yard line.
Well, 3rd downs are always big, but this MSU defense has been coming up very solid the last few weeks, holding their opponents to only 27% on their 3rd down conversion. So we'll see how this one plays out.
But quarterback draw is going to be a first down and then some. So Fleming, nice job of reading the defense, pulls it down and takes it all the way up over the 35 on a first down.
We've seen him earlier some controlled runs here, but this time the middle just vacates, and he does a nice job of turning this thing up. This is a guy who's rushed the football effectively. 43 carries, 193 yards, almost 48 yards a game coming into today. So MSU defense has got to account for him even in that 3rd and long set. They've got to have somebody spying to make sure that he doesn't break the pocket.
Hilliard back in at tailback. Here comes Ledet off the corner. And Fleming again calls his number, tries to get to the outside, but oh, Clay Bignell. He's not going to outrun Bignell to the sideline and taken down for no gain.
Just a little zone read that play. Fleming decides to keep the football, and it becomes a foot race between 18 and 42. And that time, Clay Bignell showing 6'2", 240 pounds, fly into the sideline.
Well, Fleming's not the fastest quarterback around, but there you see 3 carries already today for 27 yards. I'm not real good in math, but that's almost 10 yards a carry.
That's pretty good, I'll tell you. You might be close, you might not. I wouldn't know the difference.
2nd and 10, no gain from the 35. 3 receivers split wide right. And Fleming is going to use another timeout, and that is their 3rd and final timeout of the first half. And it comes with 11:16 to go in the second quarter. Well, let's go down on the field and join A.J. Donatoni.
Hey, Chris, obviously Sacramento State has a lot of threats on the ground. You talk about Brian Hilliard and Jeff Fleming. Fleming, the quarterback, can get it done on the ground. But it's Brian Hilliard that really carries this ground game for the Hornets. Remember back to last year in Sacramento State, that obviously both offenses were red hot in that game, but Hilliard especially busting big runs and really having one of the best games of his career. He's 2nd on the all-time rushing list at Sacramento State. He's already eclipsed 3,000 yards, and he's closing in on that #1 spot all time. So Hilliard and Fleming really combined to make defenses really worry about the ground game, especially Brian Hilliard, who seems like he's been here forever, guys.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. I was showing video of that game from last year, and I will tell you what, folks, it was hot in Sacramento. They played it in the afternoon. Kickoff, I think the temperature was in the mid-90s. They said the field temperature was about 120 degrees, and if you remember, Mike, in the 4th quarter, they were literally pouring buckets of ice water over the players and then sending them back in.
Yeah, and you could see one of the effects of it there. I remember that run. At the end of that thing, not to take any away from these athletes on defense, but it was an offensive show, and the tackling just got horrible on both sides. They were just flat exhausted.
Well, it's warm here in Bozeman today as well. Here's the Hornets now on 2nd down as they fire it out there, and that's caught by Hendershot. Hendershot to the 44, yards short of the first down, taken down by Coleman.
Coleman does a nice job of driving up, but again, pretty big cushion. They roll the pocket right, just get it out here, but not allowing him to turn upfield. He's going to be just about 1 yard short of the first down.
Alexi Grosselak in the lineup for Montana State for the first time today, along with Caleb Schreibeis. They stay on the ground. Flags come in from the far side.
Well, you could really see the Hornets were trying to get up the line of scrimmage and get that thing off in a hurry before Montana State could set their front.
Illegal substitution defense, number 4. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
They just really beat him to the punch that time, Chris. The Montana defense never got ready. They had extra personnel still on the field, so good job that time by Sacramento State coming out of the timeout and starting to make some things happen.
You know, Coach Spurbeck, as you see on your screen there, before coming to Sacramento State, he was the coach at Foothills College for 15 years, so he knows the area very, very well. And it's just been a good, methodical job of slowly building what's turned into a pretty good Big Sky Conference program.
Well, and as you said, just a ton of athletes to recruit from in that area. You know, we see the California schools, that state seems to supply about half the Northwest in ball players, and a few of them ended up at Montana State as well.
That's right.
But yeah, he's done a great job there.
First down from the 49. They'll stand on the ground to Hilliard. A good burst of speed, but met right through the line of scrimmage. And Bignell is in on the stop after a gain of 3 on the play. But Hilliard gets through that line so quickly.
He does, but watch the footwork as Bignell slides, and goes up and meets this thing. And that is a big load, 215 pounds of running back there. Gets some assistance from Fuller, who's been very good in the run game support today. But yeah, that was played. Bignell going up against a very good back and making a nice solid play.
Sam McGowan in at running back now for the Hornets on 2nd and 7. They're in Montana State territory. And McGowan gets the call right side, and Bignell again wraps him up at the 45. That'll bring up 3rd and 3.
A nice little stretch play, but Bignell, as you can see, when those linebackers are hitting their run fit, you see there's the gap, there's a hole, but it just closes up quick as he gets support from the outside as well. But Bignell having a nice series here, and now the Bobcats are going to be tested again on 3rd down. And so far today, they have been on the wrong end of this battle.
Brian Bignell checks in. Sean Gords checks in. Another big play here, 3rd and 4 from the 45. Fleming surveys the defense. Quick drop, throws out there, incomplete.
Deontay Flowers making a nice play underneath. Almost picks this off. Watch 37. He's isolated out here on the top. He gets the hard push upfield, and he tries to cut this thing down, and he just jumps inside that route. Great play defensively, but and a little bit surprised that we saw this team go for it on 4th and short earlier, but they are going to punt this one away from the 45-yard line.
Well, they'll play field position here, Mike, as they hope to pin Montana State deep in their own end. It's 4th and 4. Elvis Akla stands back at his 10-yard line. End over end kick, and Akla fields it at the 5-yard line. So Montana State facing 95 yards of real estate. 8:56 to go, 2nd quarter. Score remains 7-3.
Okay, listen up. Here's the deal. The finance guys at Ford have crunched the $27,175 MSRP on a loaded Ranger XLT 4x4 4-door super cab with automatic transmission. Came up
And here's your Ford scoring drive. 3 quick plays, 95 yards. Denarius McGee to Elvis Akla for the touchdown, and Montana State back on top 10-7.
Wow, that was a big, quick strike. They are stuck in third and 10 from their own 5-yard line. And as we've said, and I've said so many times over and over again, Denarius McGee will never give up on a play, Chris. He is going to go and try and make something happen until all options are used up. That time, just threw it down the field and allowed Akla to really come across, able to get some separations from the DB Wilkins and make us a great play and get in the end zone.
John Hendershot back to receive as Cunningham's kick is short. Comes down at the 10-yard line. Here's Hendershot up over the 20. To the 30, breaks a tackle. Hendershot to the 45. Hendershot over midfield, still on his feet. Hendershot to the 20, the 10, 5, touchdown Sacramento State. Hendershot on a 90-yard kickoff return for the touchdown.
Wow. Well, you can see there's a short kick this time by Cunningham. Fielded at the 10, and watch the blocks right in the middle of this line here. Kick out there, and boy, not able to get a hold of him. And then when it was the kicker, and watch the separation. Moyaka-Ola is not able to close on Hendershot. He just runs away from the Bobcat linebacker.
91 yards on the touchdown as Sacramento State regains the lead at 13-10. Extra point is up and good. So with 8:21 to go in the second quarter, all of a sudden, things getting interesting here as Sacramento State regains the lead at 14-10.
Well, we've seen nearly 200 yards of offense in 2 plays, Chris. So,
well, Mike, you remember last year, 64-61 was the final in overtime, and here's some of those big plays.
boy, you can see people were just ripping off long plays. We see Palmer goes there, just a nice job, and then Sac State answers. Some of these guys, there's Deatter, we've seen him already again today. A lot of the same faces that made these plays last year are here today, but again, it was both teams just kept answering that second half. It was just flat exhausting, and here we see Dinez just miss this kick, and the game finally ends 64-61 after the first overtime.
Yeah, some of those guys like Deatter, they were on life support at the end of that game. It was so hot and suffocating there, but what a great game. I'll tell you, it was just who was going to be left standing at the end of that one. And of course, Montana State went on to win that game, and of course went on to win the Big Sky Championship and reach the postseason playoffs.
And how rapidly things can change. You know, we saw this game start out really slow. Both the first 3 possessions, 3 and outs. Kind of got a little bit more momentum going. Now in the middle of this thing, we've seen a couple of rapid strikes from each team.
So Sacramento State will kick it. Yard line.
Gilbert returning the kickoff up to the 29.
Montana State with the football at the 29. Gilbert will line up at running back in the backfield for McGee, who's out of the gun. And Gilbert does get the calls, got some running room to the 30. Gilbert up over the 40, still on his feet, close to midfield, and a first down for Montana State. Little wrinkle, Mike, on that Montana State offense as they put Everett Gilbert in the backfield.
Nice 2-back set. They got Cody Kirk in front of him here, but this is just a nice hole up front, and then Gilbert doing what he does. He explodes, and if there's a seam there, he's going to find it. Does a nice job of getting upfield for the first down.
So first down from the 48, as we're just inside 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Stay on the ground at Cody Kirk, and Kirk on a gain for 3. Well, we are very pleased to be joined in the Bobcat broadcast booth by one of my favorite folks, United States Senator Conrad Burns from Billings.
Retired.
How are you, young man?
I don't know. I have to come all the way up here to see you. We only live a half a block away.
That's right. We're what, 3 houses down, right?
Yep.
Are you enjoying the game? That's my first
I'll
question.
tell you what, this is my first trip over here since they've made the new addition on the East End. And this is pretty thrilling.
Yeah. Second down for Montana State, and again, they stay on the ground. That'll be close to the first down. So this is the first time you've seen the new stadium expansion. And it really is impressive, isn't it?
Well, I sent them some money, so I'm glad they got a bill. But I don't think they got a bill for what I sent them.
Conrad, I know that sports is very important to you. I know you did the serious work in Washington, D.C. as a United States Senator, but I know in your career, dating way back, you're a former ball player, I think in Missouri, right?
Yep.
And what are your thoughts about the college football and the Big Sky Conference and where it's come in the last 10 or 15 years?
Well, I love the conference. I'm a little nervous what's happening, like in the Southeast and the Big 12, and even the Pacific Conference, the Pac-12.
You mean with the realignment and everything?
Yeah.
It does seem like it's happened awfully fast.
Well, see, the Big 8 was a strong conference, and we may be back to it one of these days. Who knows? But when Texas did what they did, and the rest of the teams didn't like that, and Nebraska jumped, so that pretty well sized that up.
Yeah, Law, you see the money issue. Everybody wants a bigger piece of the pie, and it's starting to tear some of the real good tradition, and we're going to lose some of those classic rivalries that we've had in the game for years and years.
That's the thing that really that shocks me, is that in the conference that has the natural rivalries, they just disbanded those so quickly.
That's right.
And you know, to heck with Nebraska, Oklahoma on Thanksgiving. We'll just, Nebraska goes to the Big Ten, and with no consideration to these long rivalries that have lasted for years.
We'll probably see how Nebraska shapes up tonight.
Yeah, Wisconsin, right? That's right. They got the Badgers
They're
tonight.
in Madison, but I will tell you that I just think, last year when the Cats played the Grizz, we were in the Washington area, and so we went to Montana Society, which has both Cats and Grizz, and both Democrats and Republicans. Washington Post reporter noticed me there, and he said, "Well, Senator," he said, "you're back in Washington." I said, "Yep." He said, "Well, how are you getting along?" I said, "Couldn't be better." I mean, Republicans took the state legislature. Missouri beat Oklahoma and Kansas, and the Cats beat the Grizz. I said, "That's a clean sweep."
Trey Robinson gives the Bobcats a first down. Senator, always a pleasure to see you, my friend, and thanks for stopping up and saying hello. And
well, it's always good to see you. You do good work, okay?
Thank you, sir. And you have a great afternoon.
I spent 20 years refereeing this game. I know the back judge. I'm going to have to go talk to him a little bit.
Straighten him out at halftime.
So Montana State with a first down from the 41-yard line.
Yeah, just a great, big, very important third down pickup there. You'd see the Cats came in. They loaded up. They brought an extra guard, Ben Totanu, into the backfield. It just got just enough.
Here's McGee looking deep for Akpla, the end zone touchdown. Are you kidding me? As they go to Elvis Akpla again, and another touchdown for Montana State.
All right, Chris, I believe you're the one that said he was just a little bit off today. I was trying to be nice and be a good wingman and agree with you, but I'll tell you what, since the time we've said that, he has made a couple of great plays, and this is just a fantastic throw. Hits him right in stride. He reaches out. Good coverage there, but just enough spacing to bring that one home for another Montana State TD.
Monson had no chance, locked up in single coverage back there, as Montana State will regain the lead. Extra point on the way by Cunningham is up and good. So with 6:12 to go in the second quarter, it's the Bobcats back on top of Sacramento State 17-14. And after a slow first quarter offensively, Mike, boy, I tell you what, lightning has struck often here in quarter number 2.
Well, every time we start talking about that game from last year where we got in the shootout, they seem to respond to that and put points on the board. But good protection here. They account for the big boy Zach Nash up front. And again, just a nice throw. He's able to breaks it to the post that time, gets the separation from Kyle Munson, and the ball delivered perfectly.
Well, now it's Sacramento State's turn to try to answer that call as Montana State goes back on top. Back to receive will be Sam McGowan. Cunningham on the kick. Well, they just made that look easy, those post patterns, right? I mean, he was open on the first one and open on this one.
We've seen them on the post patterns where he's made the nice cut, getting the separation right on the break. And part of that is just, that's good solid technique, driving to that defender and breaking off your route. But that time, the pass could not have been thrown any better than it was. Denarius Jones just delivered a long strike.
Kind of game we expected. You know, a lot of offense and teams going back and forth.
Well, it's certainly much more, you know, that the defense for Sac State, we talked about it earlier, that their numbers have not been good. They've played well, but now just giving up a couple of big plays in the middle of this second quarter.
McGowan thought about it and then takes a knee as we take a look at the forward scoring drive for Montana State. The touchdown that gives them the lead back, 5 plays, 71 yards. The 41-yard touchdown pass from Denarius McGee to Akla to make it 17-14. And so Fleming now will bring on the Hornet offense. Plenty of time here in quarter number 2. 6:12 remaining.
Well, yeah, they've shown that they can get it up the field. They had the big play on special teams today, but this is an offense that's made big plays in all 4 games, not just the 2 where they've come out on top.
There's the numbers on Fleming, 7 of 13. Hilliard dances up over the right side and give him 4 on the play, so 2nd and 6 for Hilliard. AJ?
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you what, with all these momentum changes, it's been unbelievable down here on the field. With the new addition to the stadium, this place can get really, really loud at any given time. But when something like a kick return happens, the Sacramento State just pulled off, it gets really quiet. It's been gone from loud to quiet to loud to quiet in the span of about a minute and a half. It's of game time. It's really unbelievable with the addition of the stadium, just how much that momentum can carry.
Boy, you can feel it up here too, AJ. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Here's Fleming. Pulls it down, looks for some running room, tries to get outside, up close to the 30, across the 30, and a first down. Good effort by Fleming to pick up the first down.
Well, for the 3rd time today, we're going to see this guy get out and show that he can rush the football. You can see here the pocket breaks down a little bit. He's pretty quick to get out of there. That looked like it was almost a set run play. The corner is able to get him in, pursuit from Bignell in the middle, but he does a nice job of getting just enough yardage. As you can see, 34 on the day, but that time, just enough to pick up the first down.
It's been their best offense today, has been that quarterback draw. So first down to the 32-yard line. Fleming pulls it down. Looks out here long into double coverage, and this one is dropped at the 25-yard line. Boy, everybody had a chance at that one.
Boy, that's one of those plays where both teams are disappointed because this starts up front with linebacker Jody Owens and Bignell come off and blitz this thing. He's got to get rid of it downfield. Looks like Bethley's there for the interception, but really that time the tables were turned. Norris turned into the defensive back on the play and was able to break it up to prevent the interception.
And Fleming took a pretty good shot at the end of that play as he was taken down. So the incomplete pass will bring up 2nd and 10. Fleming fires it out there in the flat. That's complete at the 30. Up over the 40-yard line. A nice job by Hendershot. Taken out of bounds by Bethley.
Well, we've seen them run this bubble 3 times previously. This time, watch the block by number 81, Deatter. He's able to cut Deontay Flowers and open this thing and give Hendershot the ability to turn it up and get upfield. Nice block on the outside by the 6'5" receiver.
Gain of 8 on the play, so 3rd and 2. Deontay Flowers in now for Montana State. Ball's at the 40-yard line. Here's Fleming. Looks out to his right, now flips it up here for Deatter. And Deatter, incomplete flag in. That's going to be pass interference. That was an easy call on Sean Gourds, who was back there in single coverage and just got tied up with Deatter, who's a big guy, big target.
Well, it is it is one of those classic situations, as we'll look at it here once we get the call from the receiver. But when that ball is thrown short,
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
when that ball is thrown short up the field, that defensive back is really put in a tough spot as the receiver comes back to the ball. That time, Gorge was beat deep, but the throw was such that he was able to close short enough that Deanner's got to come back and get it, and the defensive back just has a hard time stopping momentum. All of a sudden, you go from full-on chase mode, going, uh-oh, I just got beat deep, and now you've got to try and shut it down into the receiver who's closing, and you're going to come up with the interference call 9 times out of 10.
Sam McGowan in at running back now on first down from the 45. Here's Fleming, now gives to McGowan, and McGowan is going to be met by Big Nell behind the line of scrimmage, and Clay drags him down, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Boy, Big Nell's having himself some kind of game, huh?
He is, and it's good to see the senior captain start busting out some numbers. I mean, what we've talked about, what a great comeback he has made to be a part of it. Came back last year, wasn't really the same player that he had been as a sophomore, understandably so with all that he went through from a health standpoint. But boy, today he is looking like the Clay Big Nell from 2 years ago.
Croxdale in at running back on second down. Here's Fleming out there, and that's complete to Reed. And Reed takes it down to what looks to be a first down.
Well, it looks like we're seeing Jeff Fleming kind of establish himself here. He's starting to look a little bit more comfortable. And I think that the coaching staff for Sac State is doing a good job in calling those short routes so that he can step back, get to his drop, and get the ball out, because when he has tried to sit in the pocket, he has seen a tremendous amount of pressure from not only the MSU front, but those linebackers as well.
Here's first down call, and again, they flip it out there, and it's complete to Hendershot. They've not been very good at going deep. Fleming has not been accurate trying to throw the ball deep, but where they've been very good in their passing game has been these quick outs and little bubble screens and getting some space for their receivers to make the catch, and then some good running at the end of the play.
Yeah, you can see that's just a tough play. You put a lot of pressure on the defense. It looks pretty simple when you get out to that sideline in the flat, but you've got to get a good open field tackle to secure that thing, or it's going to go upfield a long ways. That time, a good tackle, but that's just a big receiver to bring down.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Here's Fleming, now goes out to his right, and this is caught again. So this time they go to Hendershot to the right after they went to him the play before.
Well, we're just flipping the screen here. These are the same two people. This time, Hendershot doesn't have his footing there. Deontay comes over and puts a pretty good hit on him that I think is going to send him to the sideline, at least temporarily. But yeah, you're right, Chris. The exact same play, working both sides of the field.
McGowan now back in at tailback on first down. Ball's at the 18-yard line. Here's Fleming, straight drop, looks left, fires for the back of the end zone. And this is overthrown. Nice play there. Kind of slow to develop. They were trying to get Norris out there in the corner. And just good press coverage by Montana State.
Yeah, we've seen them have success on this drive with the short, quick outs. This time they try to go upfield, and watch 42 get in the face of just Fleming. He just doesn't have time to set up and throw the long route right now, and you can credit that front for MSU. They're opening up the lanes for those backers to come and bring pressure. AJ talked about at the beginning, they've got to disrupt Fleming because he is just too good if you let him sit and pick his targets.
2nd and 10 from the 18. Fleming throws it into traffic, incomplete, intended for Reed. And this is the area of the field too, Mike, that we talked about, where the crowd noise in the Sonny Holland end zone, that's a factor.
Not only the crowd noise, but as you're going down into the red zone, that field contracts. You've got a lot. MSU is now able to bring a lot more guys up aggressively because they're really not worried about anything long up the field because there just isn't much room. And that time they stacked everybody, played a lot of press coverage on the outside, and were in perfect position for that little bubble screen.
3rd and 10 now from the 18. Croxdale in the backfield with Fleming. He comes out of the backfield, and now he's going to be hit and taken down. Fumble on the play. They're going to mark it down at the 27-yard line. Boy, what a nice job by Montana State as Brad Daly came in, applied the pressure.
Yeah, again, you're going to see what happens when they try to force him to throw or to hold the ball too long. There's just a ton of pressure there. Not only Daly, but Minter was there as well. That's going to be a big, big play in moving them back deep in the red zone. Keep in mind, they've got a young freshman kicker they don't have a lot of confidence in. Just 1 for 3 on the year. The 2 misses weren't his fault. One was a bad snap and the other one was a block. But really, one of the reasons why you've seen them operate as out of 4th down, going for it so many times this season.
Well, and they're going to go 4th and 20. Montana State use a timeout. I think they did. Yeah, timeout for Montana State. Let's take a look at the Sports Network poll, and there's the Bobcats in at number 4 right now. Georgia Southern continues to be the #1 ranked team in the nation. You've got Montana State at 19. Sacramento State jumps back into the poll after beating the Grizz last week. They're 2-2. So the team to watch in all of this is sitting right down there at number 5 in the country, my friend. North Dakota State, which went over and manhandled Minnesota out of the Big Ten last week.
Yes, they did, and they are off to a good start at 3-0. You know, it's going to be interesting, as it always is, to see how this group shakes out. Really, what you want to be is make sure you're in this list on that last Saturday of the season, and it really doesn't matter where you are at that point. And the great thing about the FCS as compared to the FBS is, while you want to try, if you're in the mix on that last Saturday, you're going to get a shot to go win it all.
Absolutely right. And of course, last year they expanded from 16 to 20 teams and had those play-in games, which was terrific. And we saw North Dakota State come in here and beat the Bobcats last year. And they return a lot of players, as do Montana State, Georgia Southern. They were a dominant program for a long, long time. They're back, and there you see that Montana State crowd in that end zone, and they are whooping and hollering. So it's 4th and 20 from the 28. Kind of in no man's land, so they got to go for it. Out of the range of Dinez. Here's Fleming. He's going to air it out for the end zone, and this one is caught by DeAdder. And that is a touchdown for Sacramento State. Wow, DeAdder got just up on his man and out jumping for the touchdown. And you see the size difference, but there is a flag on the play.
The crowd is indicating that they think this was a push-off.
4th down.
And it looks like that is going to be the call. We missed the beginning with the referee there, but watch him as he checks up his route. This is sort of a jump ball for him at 6'5". You got to think he's got a good chance of coming down with it. Don't see the contact there. Oh, but a little bit of push. Yeah, quite honestly, Chris, I did not see the contact.
Well, they got exactly what they wanted. They got the matchup they wanted. They got the 6'5" DeAdder going up with Sean Gord's and a jump ball in the end zone. Well, they'll sort it all out and let us know.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. Number 23. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Wow, what a change of events. The MSU is seemingly saved by the offensive pass interference call in the end zone, and then to get a silly dead ball foul. I'm not sure, we didn't see it, but you know, anything after the whistle you've got to assume is completely unnecessary. And it sounds like what we're getting the word is that it was more about talk and not so much actions from number 23 Owens. But boy, now again you've got a team that was backed up 4th down on the 44-yard line, and it's now suddenly it's 1st down on the 33 going in.
So a big break for Sacramento State. from the 28 and a first down. Fresh set of downs for the Hornets. Still plenty of time. 1:46 to go in second quarter. Here's Fleming now, rolls left, comes back the other way. And Fleming with some running room down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Ridden out of bounds by Schreibeis.
Well, he is in full scramble mode this entire series here. You'll see tries to get out to his left, nothing there. Kali'i forces him out of the pocket, and Bignell once again closes him out, runs him out on the sideline for a gain of about 3.5.
Second down. More important, he got out of bounds to stop the clock. Remember now, they're out of timeouts here in the first half. They've used all 3. Hilliard at running back as Fleming lines up under center. Give us to Hilliard, and Hilliard met right at the line of scrimmage. Flag on the play. John Ledette in on the stop for Montana State.
Defense, offsides, number 11. That's a 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's the second time the Bobcats have been called for offsides on defense.
Yeah, and when you feed on, I mean, that's just a matter of lining up and being disciplined. That time, Leggett just got a little bit of an early jump. But, you know, those are the plays that you just can't make. You can't breathe life back into an offense that's struggling a little bit and give them consistently more opportunities to come out and put points on the board.
Brad Daly checks in for Montana State on 2nd and 1. Clock running down to 1:20. Here's Fleming. Pumps. Pulls it down, now runs, and that is a first down as Fleming goes airborne at the 15-yard line, but gets the first down.
Well, you can see, watch him as he breaks the pocket here on the right. Number 98, Christian Kali'i, is just screaming that he's being held, and watch, you can see they're just dragging him down, and that's what let Fleming get to that corner was the hold inside. That time it was missed, and again, first down. Sacramento State is dodging some bullets down here, and they're getting very, very dangerous as they continue to build momentum.
Moe Akiole checks in at the 16 and a first down. 1:19 to go second quarter. They stay on the ground to Hilliard. Hilliard with some running room at the 10. Up, down, close to the 5-yard line. And he'll be very close to another first down. Daly in on the tackle for Montana State.
Boy, watch. Linebacker Owens, 23, comes up into your screen, tries to take on that big block up front, just doesn't have the body to shut that thing down vertically. Allows Hilliard to get upfield for another nice game.
2nd and 1 from the 7. Hilliard slams it up in there close to the 5-yard line, and that should be enough for a first down. Schreibeis in on the stop.
They are going to move the chain, so it's going to be a 1st and goal situation.
And they've got to hurry on their offense.
As they are, the clock is a factor. 37 and counting with no timeouts for the Sacramento State Hornets.
1st and goal from the 5. Fleming looks to the back of the end zone, has a man wide open, and it's underthrown. Boy, they had 6 points the easy way as DeAtter was all alone in the end zone.
He certainly was, and he gives everything he's got to try and get to the ball. The corner, Coleman bit on that run fake, got caught inside, and he's wide open, but they are just not able to make the throw and catch. Boy, another missed opportunity for that Sacramento State offense.
Now they pretty much have to throw here on 2nd or 3rd down. A running play would all but kill the clock here in the second quarter. So 2nd down. Fleming under center, looks to his right, fires into the end zone, and incomplete.
Well, Chris, I think that is going to be off the helmet.
That's what I was going to say.
Number 5. I think we have a hard time in that corner here, but it looks like this hits Fuller up top on this one. But let's watch it. This ball is delivered with some velocity. He's trying to ram this thing into the corner, and it just goes right off the top of the helmet of safety Joel Fuller. And And that's one way to break up a pass, I guess. Is that what they mean when they say using your head?
That's using the old melon.
See, my coaches said that to me constantly, but I never really grasped that concept, I guess.
17 seconds to go in quarter number 2, 3rd and goal from the 5. Fleming throws it into the back of the end zone for DeAtter, incomplete. I think the coaching staff wanted a hold out there, but no call. We'll bring it forward down.
Looked like very solid coverage. This is their coverage guy, Jones. Let's see if he gets a hand on DeAtter. As I think they're trying to hold his arm a little bit. Yeah, that looked like Sac State could have gotten a call there. I don't know if it was a catchable ball, but he sure would have had a shot at it had it not been for the grasp there.
Diniz on for the short field goal. This will be from 22 yards. Straight away. Diniz kick is on the way, and it is no good. Boy, Diniz misses what amounted a little more than an extra point, and they come away empty.
Boy, that is one heck of a lot of drama to end this, or almost in this second quarter. Still 7 seconds left to play, but boy, this thing just looks like it leaks out to the right. This is the younger brother of the last year's kicker that had a very important kick go errant on him as well. But yeah, this young guy is really struggling, and they need to get him some more opportunities to make kicks, because when you come into a pressure situation like that, 1 for 3, you've had a poor snap before, you've had one block, it's tough to stand back there and really stand over the ball with a whole lot of confidence.
Denarius McGee will take a knee, and that'll do it here in the first half, with Montana State leading over Sacramento State 17-14. So the Hornets turned away. They had a golden opportunity to score late in the second quarter, but unable to capitalize.
Well, I tell you, I'm starting to feel a little bit like I did a year ago when we were in Sacramento, when this thing started going back and forth and back and forth. Boy, we had just a ton of momentum changes in that second quarter. And I don't know who's the most disappointed when you get that drive like that. Montana State made mistake after mistake after mistake, but they survived, didn't allow any points on the board. And if you're Sacramento State, you got to think, boy, God, we had so many opportunities. We've created opportunities. We've got to capitalize now.
Yeah, no question. And I think the team that's going to come out of this game with the W is going to be the team that cuts back on the mistakes, starts playing a little better fundamental football, and takes advantage of the scoring opportunities. Both teams had chances, and for Montana State on offense, it was the 2 big plays. The touchdown passes to Elvis Ackland. Really, for Sacramento State, they've been very effective moving the ball up and down the field, but they have not been real good inside the red zone. So
no, they haven't, and they didn't come into this game that effective in the red zone. Just 11-15 from a touchdown standpoint, and we know they haven't had much success from anywhere on the field in the field goal area. So they have just got to shore things up in both locker rooms and come out and really try. And both staffs have got to feel that if they can fix a few mistakes, that they're going to be very, very competitive coming out of the box in the second half.
Let's go down on the field and join A.J. Donatoni.
All right, Chris, we're here with Sacramento State head coach Marshall Spurbeck. Coach, crazy second quarter, back and forth. What was your biggest impression about it?
It's a good football game. You know, it is going back and forth, and you know, we got a lot of good football ahead of us.
I guess what kind of adjustments do you plan on making in the second half?
Well, we just got to hit some things. We had some things open we felt, and we missed on it, and we just got to be more consistent here in the second half.
All right, thanks, Coach. That's head coach Marshall Spurbeck of the Sacramento State Hornets. They trail Montana State 17-14 at the half, and coming up, we will have this week's Proud to be a Bobcat presented by Montana State University, and the rest of the Wendy's halftime report on Bobcat Game Day.
Holding on to a 17-14 lead over Sacramento State in a game really, Mike, it's featured some very big plays from both teams today.
Yeah, it really has. And I think the biggest play that we've seen that sort of changed the momentum was the answer by Sac State. Hendershot goes back and takes a kickoff just after Montana State has thrown the 95-yard strike to go ahead. It looked like they might be stealing the momentum in this one. Boom, right back. 91 yards to the end zone for Hendershot, and he just flat and outran the Montana defenders in the second half of that play.
Well, and here's the play right here that gave Sacramento State the lead in quarter number 2. Boy, and Mike, once he gets to the 50-yard line, he just turns it on, huh?
Yeah, he does. I mean, just great speed, deceptive a little bit, but that's a big, long stride, and when you're going to pick him up and lay him down like that, you're going to pick up some ground.
Well, that gave Sacramento State the lead at that point, but then again, Montana State came right back on the long 95-yard touchdown pass from Denarius McGee to Elvis Akpla, the second of the first half, as those two hooked up a couple of times for big touchdowns. And that's where we stand at after 2 quarters of football, with Montana State on top thanks to the Jason Cunningham field goal. That's been the difference in the game right now.
It really has, and we saw him a big difference in last week's contest where he knocked 5 through and sort of helped Montana State keep that separation from Eastern Washington.
All right, so the Wendy's halftime report.
Coach, talk about it a little bit.
Oh, it was unbelievable. The big plays were just shocking. 95 one way, 80 the other way, and that's. But what, you know, it's just part of the game, and that you have to react to those. You have to recover from them, and just keep playing hard. I thought our defensive stand at the end of the first half was just fantastic. Our guys really played hard.
What do you want to see change here as we go to the last 30 minutes?
We got to get the penalties fixed. I mean, that's obviously killing us, although they've had a couple of big penalties against them too. So it's just coming down. I told the halftime guys that discipline in our assignments, you know, fixing some of those penalties, just playing the fundamentals right of the game, I think we'll be okay.
All right, thanks, Coach. Chris?
Well, you can see, I think he came out, Chris, with some things that they want to fix, and as we go to the highlights, a lot of things that could be done better on both teams, but boy, there's a big load. We see Hilliard up the nice down block from his defensive tackle. McGee comes right back and answers with the 95-yard. Their backs against the wall, 3rd and 10 on their own 5-yard line. Appears everything's going Montana State's way, and then bang.
Yep, and here comes the long kick return by Hendershot, because he took it all the way for 6 points and a touchdown. That puts Sacramento State back on top, Mike. But from there, once again, it was Denarius McGee to Elvis Akpla for the second time today as they ran the post pattern. And Akpla, with all that speed, back there in single coverage, makes the touchdown. Jason Cunningham adds the field goal, and that's where we stand after 2 quarters of play, 17-14. Back where Sacramento State, after the injury to DeAtter, has the ball on a 2nd and 1. Hilliard's going to get a first down, but a flag on the play. Tried to quick snap it before the Bobcat defense could get ready, but flag comes in.
And I think we are going to see another offsides on that Montana State defense.
Defense, offsides, number 11. That penalty is declined. First down.
Well, you can see
that's John Ledette. I think that's just a situation where he's lining up offside. So they need to get that fixed, obviously, but not really a factor on that play. But what was a factor, again, was that left side of the offensive line for Sacramento State.
1st and 10, ball right at midfield for the Hornets. And Hilliard going to be met right at the line of scrimmage and taken down by Schreibeis. Not much there. Nice open field tackle by Schreibeis. Good solid play by Montana State. Give them one on the play, 2nd and 9.
Good push up against a big body that time by Schreibeis. He was paired off with Nate Doverspike, the 6'5", 285-pound senior tackle, who was able to drive upfield and make the stop for short gain.
Norris and Chastain now into the lineup for Sacramento State on 2nd and 9. Eastern Washington leading. The Grizz all over northern Colorado. Idaho State leads Portland State. Here's a toss and catch. Man, that's just a good open field tackle by Stephen Bethley. Looked like that might have been a bit of a big gainer, but Norris is wrapped up right after the catch.
Bethley, another one of those young defensive backs for MSU, just a sophomore that is just doing a great job so far this season. That time recognized the play, came from his strong safety spot and drove up hard, made the open field tackle for a short gain.
Deontay Flowers checks in for the Cats defense, along with Brad Daly. And Croxdale is in at running back for the Hornets. It's 3rd and 5 from the 45. Here in the 3rd quarter, here's Fleming looking long and deep. He's got a man there at the 10-yard line. And right through the hands of number 84 is Justin Chastain. And Chastain, a chance to make a big catch, and just goes right through his arms.
Boy, and he was open, Chris. It looks like his arms get a little bit short at the end of this play, because I thought he was going to reach out and pull this one in, but boy, really difficult to find the ball and just locate it when it's coming over your inside shoulder and you're almost looking straight back over your head.
That'll bring up 4th down, and Augie Heath is in to punt it away, and Akla stands at his 10-yard line. Heath will try to angle this for the corner. Akla will let it hit at the 5, and it goes into the end zone. So Montana State has the ball, 1st and 10 from the 20. 11:16 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Well, Eastern Washington appears to be getting healthy all of a sudden as they're roughing up Weber State in Cheney today.
Well, Weber State, obviously a very good football team, comes in 2-0 in the Big Sky Conference. But you know what? We saw it last week live and in person. That team is too good. They are not going to lay down, Chris. They're going to go out and beat some people. And I think at the end of the year, the Montana schools are going to go, wow, you know, we were lucky to get those guys when we did and come out with a couple of hard-fought victories, because Eastern Washington is going to go get some people.
Well, we'll see what the Montana State offense can do now. They've kind of been hit and miss this afternoon. They've had some big plays, but McGee now will be out of the gun on 1st down. Looks out to his right, fires, and that is caught by no, incomplete. Luskin had it at the 28, but they say trapped it.
I think he was able to reel this one in, but it looks like his feet may have slid around and been out of bounds before he's able to make the catch. Very, very close play on the sideline. Nice job of going down and get it, but I think his knee just was on that white line.
2nd down, 3 receivers, split left. Akla down here to his right. And Cody Kirk's in the backfield. Here's McGee, fires out for Acklew, who makes the catch up over the 25 to the 29, and that'll bring up 3rd and 1.
I think you're going to look for Montana State to work some more of these one-on-one matchups here in the second half. They've gone the ball upfield quite a bit the first half, but that time 3 receivers to the top. They knew they had one-on-one with Elvis with the soft cushion down here on the bottom. Look for them to be content, going out and get that 7 yards. Maybe if a missed tackle, you turn it up the field.
3rd and 2 from the 28. Out of the I formation, the give is to Kirk. And Kirk is going to be wrapped up and driven down, and he will not get the first down.
Kirk on the carry.
Great job by that Sacramento State front wall as Bloomfield and Larche in on the stop.
It's not often that you see Cody Kirk go backwards at the end of a run, but he hits this thing up, and those guys, they just swallowed him up. 3 defenders there to make the play. A big, big 3rd down stop for the Sacramento State Hornets.
So Rory Perez on to kick it away.
Montana State has been the most efficient team on 3rd down in the Big Sky. That's a big deal when you can get them in short yardage and get the stop and force the punt.
Yeah, no question. So Perez will kick it away from his 15. Here comes pressure. They fake it. And Acklew with the catch. He makes a one-handed catch and then falls forward for the first down. Oh, my gosh.
Well, that's a heck of a catch, but we talked about it after the last punt, and I expected to see some fake coming because they come so hard. This time, the ball is delivered by Perez, and that is one phenomenal catch. Watch him reach back for that one. That is big time, Chris. It doesn't get much better than that on a 4th and 1 in your own territory.
Well, the catch doesn't get much better than that. I'm not sure about that, how pretty that pass was from Perez.
Well, we know Perez is a great punter, but right now he is a perfect passer as well, Chris. He's 1 for 1.
Sensational play by Acklew, and this time Kirk has running room. Kirk up near midfield, falls forward to the 48-yard line, and a first down for Montana State.
Well, for the first time today, watch this between the right guard and tackle. Burbank and Davis load that thing up. First time today we've seen Montana State with a really solid crease up front in the running game.
Trey Robinson in now at running back. He gets the call. And Robinson driving those feet forward down inside the 45 to the 44-yard line, 2nd and 3.
Well, they obviously see something they like, they being Montana State on the right side of that football, getting behind Terrian and Leo Davis. They've used it consecutive times now with both running backs, and now we're going to see that set again where Everett Gilbert joins Robinson in the backfield.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4 from the 44. I've seen this look a few times this afternoon with Gilbert in the backfield. And the give is to Gilbert. And Gilbert up over the 40-yard line. That's very close to a first down. And in again on the tackles, Todd Davis.
Well, but Gilbert did a nice job, and the guy that you need to talk about is number 68. Conrad Burbank at left tackle here. Watch him turn out the All-American and ride him upfield to make that crease. That is not an easy job. And you know, Chris, I like to get behind these offensive linemen, and it needs to be said, Montana State's nominee for Big Sky Offensive Player of the Week on offense last week was number 68 left tackle Conrad Burbank. I'm not sure how you make that argument to the league. You say, hey, he played great, he didn't give up a sack. I mean, don't you have to throw some numbers at him? I don't know what you do.
Well, we were talking about that last week. We've got to come up with a way to rate these guys with some numbers, because that game last week in Cheney, that offensive line was sensational.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job, and they really have all year. It was good to see Colton Nuanez in the local paper today. Did a nice piece on all of them and kind of how they've come together as a unit. And, you know, like I said at the beginning of this half, if you're Montana State, you would like to get behind those guys and have some success rushing the football here in the second half.
3rd and inches as Shane Robinson checks in at tight end for Montana State. Stephen Foster also a tight end lines up at fullback, and Robinson's the tailback. Give is to Robinson. Robinson with a first down and more. Robinson to the 30. Ridden out of bounds at the 25-yard line. And now flag comes in, and that's going to be a late hit on Trey Robinson.
Well, they are going to tack on 15 more from this, but boy, a great play here and really savvy running by Robinson. He does a great job of being patient and getting behind those blockers and able to really what looked like was going to be a small game. Patiently waited till they got upfield and busted it to the outside, and then just a silly late hit. I didn't quite catch the number, but they ran him right.
That was Larche who rode him all the way in to where the crowd was, and here's the call.
After the play was over, dead ball, personal foul, number 39 on the defense. That's half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's a big penalty against Sacramento State, and you're going to see Joe Larche at the end of this play. Now, Robinson has more than enough for the first down, but watch Larche right at the end of the play, angling, and then right there is he going to get called for the push when he was clearly out of bounds.
Watch the blocking up front. Terrian slides behind, little short pull there. Good job by the tight end, and I'll tell you, when you see those guys executing that on the offensive line, it is really rewarding to see what kind of systems that Coach McAdoo can continue to create up there week after week.
1st and 10, McGee fires into the end zone for Akpla, and this time it's broken up. Good job by Monson to get in front of Akpla and break it up. So 2nd down as they try to go to Akpla for the 3rd time.
Kyle Monson has been victimized a few times by McGee and Akpla so far in this game, but watch him. He makes a solid break at the end of this ball just to be able to get the arm in front. Akpla is looking for the call, but really just a solid defensive effort that time by Monson.
Incomplete pass brings up 2nd down. No scoring here in this 3rd quarter. Here's McGee. And Denarius calls his own number. Now he just kind of pushed the pile forward, picks up maybe 3 on the play. And that'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, really not there. The planned read. Watch, he drops back here, but this is run all the way. They get a good block at the point of attack, but just can't really create any type of crease there. Cody Kirk on the outside wasn't able to get his man kicked up. Just not a lot of room to run. As you said, Chris, push the pile for a couple yards is all.
Spotted the ball on the 11 on 3rd down. Bleskin and Ellis are split wide right. Akpla to the left. And Foster, the tight end, is in the slot. With Kirk in the backfield on 3rd down. Here's McGee. Looks left, still looking, now runs. He's got some room at the 10. Denarius at the 5 and taken out of bounds, but a first down for Denarius McGee will set up a 1st and goal. Taken out of bounds by Coleman.
Well, Denarius says he's just a smart quarterback. Sees this thing, breaks down, but he's still looking upfield to a certain extent, and then he's just got to make that first man miss, get enough for the first down, and Montana State 1st and goal at the 3.
All right, a couple of tight ends in for Cody Kirk, and Kirk is met, falls forward, taken down by Badger, the linebacker, very close to the touchdown, and he'll be just about a half a yard short.
Defensive line gets a really nice push upfield this time. Not a lot of room for Cody, and it allows Badger from the middle linebacker spot to just come and put a hat on him. Does a good job. Nice solid wrap on the legs, and Cody's left with no option but just try to fall forward, get near that goal line.
Second and goal from the 1. Bleskin goes across in motion. Give it to Kirk. Kirk tries the left side. Touchdown, Montana State. So Cody Kirk from a yard out extends the Montana State lead.
Well, that's a big play, and I'll tell you, just a little bit of a push. This is warfare on this line of scrimmage. Both groups doing a really solid job. There's not a lot there, and particularly in that shot, as we try to look through the zebra there, he had a good angle, but unfortunately impaired ours a little bit. But Cody able to just get enough to get into the end zone and get a big touchdown for Montana State. Again, triggered by that fake punt.
Cunningham on for the extra point. Kick on the way and good. So 5:41 to go in the third quarter. Montana State ups the lead to 10.
Montana State 24, Sacramento State 14.
Are you a dental coward?
One popcorn.
Sacramento State with a first down at the 49-yard line. As Fleming brings the offense back out. This time he operates out of the gun. Croxdale's in there at running back. Fleming fires out to his right, and that ball's dropped at the 45, intended for Morris Norris. And Norris simply let it go through the wicket there. It'll be incomplete pass.
Well, again, I think we're seeing them go back to what they had success with, and that was getting the ball, that three-step drop, getting the ball out quickly, and trying to allow their receivers to make a play, make a guy miss, and get the ball upfield for some decent yardage.
2nd and 10. DJ Maciel checks in at tight end. Keep an eye out for him. And here comes the blitz as Owens comes up the middle and makes the play. Boy, you could see that one coming as Jody Owens blitzed right up the middle and ran right into the running back.
You've got to credit the Montana State defensive staff for this one. This is a play that's been killing them. They brought Fuller and Owens right up in that 5-hole on the left side of the offensive line for Sac State, and they just shut that thing down for a 2-yard loss, bringing up a real tough 3rd and 12 at near midfield.
Loss of 2, 3rd and 12. Crowd comes to life. Fleming runs up the middle, and he's going to be stopped well short of the first down. Once again, Jody Owens trips up Fleming. That'll bring up 4th down.
Well, it looks like this may be, no, I think they are going to bring in the punting unit, but a good job that time again by Fleming, recognizing that the pocket broke down. That time Montana State gave him a little bit different look, and they actually rolled back into a 3 deep safety. Sort of took away that release. They've been trying to go over the top every time on those long 3rd downs. So a good job by Montana State in changing things up and giving them a little bit different look and confusing the quarterback.
Heath will punt it away from the 40-yard line. Akla's going to let this one hit, and it's going to be downed inside the 10. Nice job for Sacramento State as Brandon Reed will down it at the 6-yard line. Well, now with a 10-point lead late into the 3rd quarter, Mike, do you start changing your offense maybe a little bit, try to control, run some clock off, maybe try to pound out some first downs on the ground, or you just do what you've been doing?
Well, you want to try to run and eat that clock, but I think way too early if you're the Montana State staff or anybody on that sideline to think about taking your foot off the gas. You know, it's just, this is too talented a football team on the other side, and too early in this contest to really focus on just eating that clock. But if you can have success running the ball, boy, great, pound it.
3 receivers split to the right. They go to Cody Kirk, and Kirk has all kinds of running room. Cody Kirk up over the 30 to the 35 at a first down for Montana State as McMahon makes the tackle. But Mike, check out this work on the offensive line.
Does anybody wait? How far is he upfield before anybody touches him? A great block that time by left guard Denny. He just kicked that thing out, opened up the huge hole for Cody Kirk, and if there's anything that he knows, it's how to get it upfield.
Well, Cody closing in on 100 yards rushing now. He has 91 for the day on 14 carries. Double tights for Montana State. And now they'll shift Foster into the backfield, and Trey Robinson's in the game as well, and he gets the call. So Trey wants in on this running game, pounds it up for a couple. You know, if you're Cody Kirk and you're running through that, you got to in your mind like, this is fun.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It is serious work, but when you're running back and you see something open up like that, your eyes get big, and if you can get a smile on your face, you do. But what was interesting is, I think for about the 2nd or 3rd time today, we've seen them run Trey in to run the exact same play in follow-up to a pretty successful run by Cody.
Denarius McGee zips that pass into John Ellis, and Ellis will take it up to the 42-yard line, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 4. Inside of 2 minutes to go now in the 3rd quarter, Montana State by 10.
Well, again, when you're looking at 3rd down, you've got to account for number 98 Nash, who is matched up on the outside with left tackle Conrad Burbank.
Now McGee will look over to the sideline, get his signals. Robinson in the backfield with him.
They'll slide Robinson over to that side. That is probably a very solid move in the pass protection area.
And they'll come back to the weak side, and Robinson breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles, first down. Trey Robinson up over midfield. I'll tell you, that guy's a load trying to bring down, and broke a couple of tackles and got a first down.
Well, not only a load, but watch his nice feet work. You really got to credit Robinson with this run, because right at the point of attack on this right side, he has a defender that comes in here, makes him miss, got another guy that gets a hand on him, and then is able to turn it up. Solid running, another first down by Montana State.
Larche in on the tackle, but not before Robinson gets the first down. 45 yards on the day as Cody Kirk checks back in. Shane Robinson in at tight end. This time McGee on play action, looks out for Ellis. And Ellis with a sensational catch inside the 25-yard line and a first down for Montana State. What a great catch by Ellis.
It all starts with a really nice play fake in here. Watch this ball fake to Cody. They've run the ball successfully. You've got to bite if you're a defense. Ellis gets a separation, and the ball delivered perfectly between zones in front of the safety and behind that up front coverage. Very ball, and John Ellis with another nice catch.
This time they'll stay on the ground to Kirk, and Cody takes it up inside the 20, close to the 19-yard line. Well, I'll tell you, Ellis has been really impressive, Mike, since coming into this Montana State programming. Keep in mind, there's a lot of good wide receivers he had to wade through just to get out on the playing field, but he's contributed quite a bit in these first 4 games.
Yeah, he has, and you've really got to be, if you're a receiver in this Montana State offense, you look back at last year, 3-4 really solid guys. None of them put up huge numbers because McGee worked so hard at spreading the ball around.
After 3, Montana State leads 24-14. Back after these words from your local stations. Second and 8. Here's Cody Kirk. Leaps at the 15 and all the way down to the 12-yard line. He'd be very close to a first down.
This is the same spot on the field where Cody likes to get in that hurdling uniform, because we've seen it him 2 or 3 times, but a nice job that time getting it ball upfield, and that's got to put him really close to 100 yards on the afternoon.
Yeah, he is. He's up over 100. That's 300-yard games already this season. Boy, what a start to the year this kid has had.
Yeah, and I think you look at that's 3, and you look at the Minot State game, I think he ended up with 75, but didn't see the field in the second half.
Kirk breaking tackles, and he'll go in for the touchdown. Cody Kirk from 10 yards out scores, and the Bobcats up the lead to 30-14.
Well, that's a big drive to put that one together, move it down the field, and get in the end zone again. You really feel like the momentum at this point has shifted in the second half. It's pretty much been all MSU, but we've been here before, Chris, and things have turned very, very quickly.
14 unanswered points for Montana State pending the extra point here in the second half. Kick is good. 4:29 to go in the fourth. 31-14 our score from Bozeman.
Okay, this is it, the Built Ford Tough Sales event. And in this corner, America.
Back at Bobcat Stadium as Montana State is up the lead to 31-14 on the touchdown run from Cody Kirk. The Ford scoring drive, 8 plays, 93 yards. And Cody Kirk up over 100 yards again today. Well, we were talking to him down on the field last week in Cheney, and when you watch him, Mike, he doesn't look like a big guy, but when you stand next to him, he's not tall, but that kid is thick.
Yeah, he really is. I think Coach Ash described him last year as a ball of muscle.
Yeah.
And it's really true. We've said it over and over again that no one can outwork Cody Kirk, but you can see it has paid off in his physical development.
Well, let's take a look at how the Bobcats got into the end zone on this last drive, Mike. And again, Montana State starting deep in their own end, and they got a big dose of Cody Kirk on this drive.
Yeah, starting backed up at your own 7, get it out of there on the very first play, then mix it up with a little pass, ball thrown between the levels of the defenders, and then it's just Cody Kirk finishing this thing up. Nice job keeping his feet, and in the end zone for the second time today. Is that third time?
Yeah, well, at least 2 that I'm. Weber State mounting a comeback against Eastern Washington and Cheney. Eagles hanging on to a 27-21 lead. Montana all over Northern Colorado. Screen pass here. Idaho State now trails Portland State in the fourth, 34-28.
Boy, Jody Owens, nice job on this play. As we see Zach Minner, number 96, slow getting up for MSU, but a well-executed screen that time by Sacramento State. Owens very disciplined. Pounded that thing to the outside. I'm not sure. I didn't see Zach go down. It almost looked like it was something upper body, but
boy, this is scary here because Zach Minter is really he is one of the outstanding players in that 3-4 alignment that Montana State uses, and this would be a tough blow to their defense if he's hurt.
It really would. You know, not only one of the big players for MSU, but this is a guy who's one of the most outstanding players on the defensive front in the Big Sky Conference. Let's take a look at it here. As you can see, he's right in the middle of your scheme, right on the numbers, and boy, just get oh, boy, that hurts. That looked like at least an unnecessary chop to that knee, and maybe even have come from behind. The ball was outside. Just really no point in even throwing that block, other than that you're going to get somebody hurt and something bad is going to happen. But hopefully he'll be able to shake that off and return to the ball game. But he is walking very gingerly as he heads to the MSU sideline.
So Brian Bignell, the junior from Helena, is going to be called on here to replace Zach Minter. And the Hornets are looking at a 2nd and 8 from the 22. Now trail by 17. Here's Fleming out of the gun. Looks downfield. Now throws it out there. And this one is intercepted at the 35-yard line. Picked off by Sean Gords.
Boy, Gords makes a nice play, but that ball is thrown short because, again, the pressure from MSU. Jeff Fleming takes a huge shot. Watch him fade back here and up in his face, and he just takes a big hit by Bignell, immediately making his presence known after replacing Zach Minter. Credit that interception to the front as well as Gorge back there, but that was a great push up front, creating another offensive opportunity for Montana State.
Yeah, and Gorge back there in single coverage, and he just played that perfectly, Mike. He looked back to the ball, got between himself and the ball and the receiver, and made the interception. So first down for Montana State from the 39. They're going to stay on the ground now and try to work the clock. Let's go down on the field to A.J. Donatoni.
Chris and Mike, everything in football really is about time of possession. Last week, Sacramento State held the ball for over 40 minutes against the Grizz en route to their 42-28 win. Today, the Hornets were in the lead in time of possession in the first half, and the game should have been tied if that chip shot field goal goes in. But now the Cats have really dominated time of possession here in the second half, and they have been able to pull away, now up 17.
3 tight end set for Montana State now. They got them all in. And you see today's attendance as Robinson gets the call. Can't spin out of that tackle. A nice job by Jeff Badger to make the play. Better than 18,000 on hand, Mike, for this afternoon's game.
Well, you can see there is no quit in this Sac team. Jeff Badger game inside the middle. We've talked about Clay Bignell, but his counterpart on the other side of the ball is having a big day as well. We've seen him all around the ball at the point of attack for that Sac defense. He gets a lot of help because they got some big bodies up front that allow those linebackers to really flow and make plays.
3rd and 7 as McGee, the blitz comes off the corner, they read it, and Robinson has a first down and then some. Robinson up over the 40, taken out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Well, that play was read perfectly. They came with the blitz. McGee lets him come in, dumps off the screen, and Robinson does the rest.
Just a great call in this situation. They've been getting a lot of pressure upfield. It stuffed him on the run a little bit, but credit Robinson. He makes a lot of that yardage happen on his own after the catch.
Big, strong runner as Cody Kirk checks back in. The one thing I notice about Denarius over the last couple of years, and I'm sure you have too, Mike, his demeanor never changes. If he comes out and throws 4 or 5 incompletions or he's a little off, his body language never changes. He just goes back and just does the same routine over and over and over again.
No, he is constantly under control, Chris, and he is one cool customer. And I've had some of the players say it's amazing. He'll come off the field after an interception, and he doesn't, as you say, look any different than if he just threw a touchdown pass.
Good run by Cody Kirk. Gets him 4 on the play, 2nd and 6. And again, Montana State bringing all 3 tight ends in. Shane Robinson checks into the game. Perkins in the game. Foster in the game. Perkins is the up back, playing the fullback as they give to Kirk. And this time he's going to be taken down behind the line of scrimmage. A nice job by the Sacramento State defense that time as Badger able to cave that offensive line in and make the play.
Badger and Fernandez have been there all day, but it looked like a little bit of confusion. I'm not sure if Terry had missed his man or they had a man that came that they hadn't properly accounted for. But Cody's first contact that time was with the offensive guard about 2 yards deep in the backfield.
Clock continues to move as we're under 11 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Certainly that's going to come into play as we get deeper into the game. 5 receivers set on 3rd down. Here's McGee in a straight drop, and he is hit from behind. And now they're going to wave it off and say incomplete pass. That was Zach Nash again applying the pressure to McGee, and it'll be an incomplete pass, and we got 4th down.
Well, just good pressure. You can see inside there, they've got pressure, and then Nash came from the outside, but really no ability to step up in the pocket that time because 95, Matt Ongaiava was right in the face of Denarius McGee.
Well, Cunningham comes out, so here we go.
Well, it's only 52 yards, Chris, so we're well inside his range, but the wind is very calm at this point. A lot of dead air, but we're going to go with a little bit of pooch and try and stick this thing. MSU. All right, they are going to, it's very close, but they are going to signal a touchback on the play.
That was a nice little play there as the pooch kick by Cunningham does result in the touchback. 10:16 to go in the 4th. Montana State on top. 28-21, the final score here at Bobcat Stadium. Montana State with the win. And Mike, you know, you go through a season and it's a series of landmines, and I think we had one out in Cheney last week, a place they hadn't won since 1990. They won that game. They come in today, play a team that's ranked 25th in the nation, came off a huge win over Montana last week. It beat Oregon State, got another win. And so they're off and running right now, early, but 2-0 in the Big Sky, 3-1 overall. So that'll do it from Bobcat Stadium this afternoon. For Mike Callahan, I'm Chris Byers. We'll see you next week from the Rose City in Portland.
I don't know if it's that rare. I mean, I think I've had good combinations over the years, but Denarius is right on the money when he talks about how important the summer training is. I mean, I can remember Connor Jostis throwing to Jason Jones in 2004 at Drake because they worked together all summer and we had a championship year that year. I think it's very possible for a quarterback and a receiver to get on the same page if they work at it.
Coach, I know you guys played a really good game defensively. How important was stopping the run and you guys' success defensively?
Well, that's what we intended to try to do to come in the game, was to stop the run and try to make them throw the football and make them be one-dimensional and not be able to control the game. You know, they had 40 minutes of possession time last week in the game that they won, and that's a scary thought. It's hard to score points when the other team has the ball, and so we really wanted to make them one-dimensional, try to get into a game where we could get them out of some drives, and we had to stop the running game, and I thought we did a terrific job of that. I mean, Hilliard didn't have that many yards. I haven't seen the stats yet, but we did a good job on him, and he's a fine player, a fine back, and you know, I thought our defensive plan was outstanding.
You knew they were going to blitz a lot.
Yes.
You knew that meant a lot of man coverage. What did you think of your guys' offensive ability to take advantage of that?
Well, we got the big plays, and that was important, but we didn't want to get into just a shootout again with Sacramento State, where all we were doing is taking shots and they were taking shots, and it was going to be 60-59 again. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to be able to run the football, and we wanted to help our defense by possessing the ball ourselves on offense. And so that's why we stayed persistent with that. And down the stretch, our running game is actually what helped us produce the big drives and the points that we needed to win. Yeah, that was. I'm glad it worked. We thought it was not exactly like we drew it up. Let's say, I mean, Perez was throwing to Elvis all the time, and they're a big rush team. And one of the ways you attack a big rush team is to fake a kick. I mean, that's any kick. You know, it's a part of the strategy of special teams. And so now we've got a fake on film that teams in the future are going to have to take a look at, and they'll have to decide how hard they want to rush us because we fake it. But it was 4th and 1. That's why I called it. I thought we could complete it and probably get at least 1 yard. But I think because it was 4th and 1, they didn't rush quite as hard either. And so they had a couple of guys kind of hanging out, but we got it done.
I want to ask you about that roll front. I don't remember you guys using that.
No, we were very, very concerned about their rush, and they're smart against the shield. They packed their guys inside. They had really good outside rushers coming in on both sides. They blocked a punt last week for a touchdown against Montana. They blocked 2 punts last year against Eastern Washington, scored a touchdown. They blocked a punt and scored a touchdown against Northern Colorado. The roll punt is the safest punt there is, and we still had a little bit of trouble with it, but it limits it to one side. And so we just did that for this game plan out of respect for their rush.
And then, of course,
yeah, like we had planned to run that when they were gonna rush really heavily, so that maybe I'd have an opportunity to score. But they actually had 2 linebacker spies, so Rory's not used to throwing the ball, so he had to kind of throw it between them. And actually, when we started practicing during the week, he threw it behind me, and I kind of practiced the one-handed catch anyway. So I was pretty much ready for it.
I got to be honest, I was huddled up. I didn't even know it was 4th down. I just heard Elvis made a heck of a catch for a 1st down, and so I turned around, and then I think it was Lex. Lex said, "Did you see that fake punt that Elvis caught?" And I was like, "Wait, that was 4th down?" Because we were in a defensive huddle.
They brought a little pressure. And Daenerys did a good job of just scrambling, and I just kept on running my route. It was a deep route, and he just hit me in stride, and I think the corner fell and I scored.
Man, that's what we worked on all summer, the one-on-one situations. And we go hard at practice each and every day when we go against our DBs at one-on-ones. So that's a sequence that we just wish for each and every game, especially with him one-on-one. That's something that we just dream of each and every play. We try to pride ourselves on marching the ball down the field, on running the power play and getting 4 yards a pop, 5 yards a pop, because we know that's what makes you a championship team. Being able to throw the ball deep is extremely important, and being able to have that big play guy is extremely important. But I think the most important thing for us and for any championship team is that we can run the ball in the fourth quarter.
I'll ask you real quick what I asked Elvis a lot.
McGee makes a nice point there. They've got to find ways to run the football late down the stretch, and they've seemed to have done that.
Yeah, I mean, that's dangerous, though, you know, because we're in coverage, and that's hard. On third downs, you're in coverage and then get an easy first down. So, I mean, yeah, that's dangerous to go against a mobile quarterback. I mean, we wouldn't like going against D, so, I mean, that brings a different dimension to an offense. So.
Oh, it's nice because you just, with the play calling and stuff and the game plan from the coaches, you're able to play aggressive and just play downhill, so.
Well, we came out and our goal was to stop the run and, you know, force them to pass, you know, because they're a good overall team, but we wanted to take one thing away, and we decided we wanted to take away the run, and that's what we did. We came out and just tried to stuff the run.
I feel like we played pretty well for the most part, but I mean, there's always plays that we leave out on the field. I feel like for the most part, we did a good job of covering everyone and preventing the big ball.
I mean, that feels good, but this conference is tough. Every week we're going to have a tough opponent. You know, we got to take it one step at a time. Portland State is going to be jacked for having us come into their house. So, I mean, we'll be ready.
Yeah, I feel like we're making improvements, but I mean, there's always stuff that we need to work on and stuff and get better at. But I feel like each week we're gradually getting a little better. So.
Yeah, I thought we took a step forward. That's a good offensive team, and we really shut them down. You know, only on defense giving up 14 points. That was pretty good.
Now, Joe Fuller, Clay Bignell, heck, even Coach Rob Ash all admitted that the key to this victory today was actually the turnover battle. Huge interception and, of course, that goal line fumble for the Bobcats defense. But all three of them also did admit that some of the penalties on that side of the football, they need to start to fine-tuning some of those things up. There was a couple of offsides calls on the defensive line, not to mention a couple of huge pass interferences, which didn't end up leading to points, but certainly could have, as Sac State ended up missing a field goal down there. So they got to fine-tune some of those things if they want to stay unbeaten in Big Sky Conference.
The Portland State Vikings possess the most potent running attack in the FCS behind the two-fisted punch of Connor Cavanaugh and Corey McCaffrey. They face third-ranked Montana State, who used the long ball last week to knock off Sacramento State. First place is on the line of the Big Sky Conference next on Bobcat Game Day. And Mike, this is the most relevant game Portland State has played in more than 10 years. Why? Because a share of first place is on the line, and all you have to do is check the standings.
Yeah, at the end of today, there will be one team left undefeated in the Big Sky Conference, and it'll be the winner of this ball game.
Certainly a buzz in the air for this one as the top two teams in the Big Sky early in the season square off this afternoon. Now, for Portland State, they don't throw the football a whole lot for the simple reason they don't have to.
Portland State is definitely committed to rushing the football, and they do so very well. Already this season, last week at Idaho State, Corey McCaffrey and Connor Cavanaugh combined for 440 yards on the ground, marking the first time ever that they've had two rushers over 200 in the same game.
Yeah, how about that? The quarterback over 200 yards out of that pistol offense. That is impressive. So, that said, we look at Montana State. Keys to them defensively, pretty obvious. Got to stop the run.
Yeah, that pistol attack puts a ton of pressure on opposing linebackers. Montana State's man in the middle, Clay Bignell,